For weeks, I had meticulously planned every single moment of what I believed would be the most magical night of our lives. Every detail was chosen with care. The soft flicker candlelight at her favorite restaurant, the hidden photographer waiting to capture the exact second her eyes lit up with joy, and the ring a piece of gold engraved with the words that meant everything to us. It wasn't just a ring, it was a promise, a future, a lifetime wrapped in velvet and hope. I was completely in love, deeply, fiercely, without a shred of doubt, and I truly believed she was, too. Over the past 3 years, we had built something I thought was unshakable, filled with shared laughter, the kind of silence that feels warm rather than cold, and dreams whisper in the dark after long days. That night, I walked on air, full of hope, thinking I was about to step into forever with a woman I couldn't imagine living without. That morning, I picked up the ring from the jeweler. My hand shook slightly as I opened the box, staring down at the symbol of everything I wanted to offer her. Back home, I got dressed in the suit she once said made her forget how to breathe. I stood in the mirror, adjusting the tie, making sure everything was perfect. I was just about to leave when I noticed her phone on the couch. I picked it up, intending only to bring it to her. But then the screen lit up with a message that made my heart stall. "Are you still rejecting him tonight?" I froze. Confused, I unlocked the phone and opened the chat. What I read felt like a blade straight through my chest. "He's proposing tonight. Wait till you see me turn him down." I stood there, unable to move. I kept rereading the words, trying to find another meaning, another interpretation, something that would make it less cruel, less real. But there it was. She knew. She had known all along. This wasn't just a rejection. This was a performance. Something she had planned like a show, with an audience, with flair. She wasn't just going to say no. She wanted to humiliate me. The love I had carried for her, the joy that had lifted me earlier that day, collapsed in a quiet, aching heap. My chest felt hollow. My breath caught somewhere between disbelief and heartbreak. I could have confronted her right then. I could have thrown the ring across the room, screamed, demanded explanations, and walked away. But something inside me shifted. She wanted drama? I'd give her one. But not the one she thought she was directing. If she wanted to make a scene out of my proposal, I'd let her see what a real plot twist felt like. So I played my part. I drove to her place with a smile on my face, picked her up like nothing was wrong, and acted like the man I was at mourning before I knew. She didn't suspect a thing. She was glowing, confident, maybe even rehearsing her lines in her head. I watched her laugh, watched her text, watched her live like she held all the cards. She didn't realize the entire script had been rewritten. Not by her, but by me. At the restaurant, we talked like everything was normal. Shared a meal, toasted to us. And then, just as dessert was placed on the table, I rose from my seat. The room hushed. She looked up, eyes wide with anticipation, hands ready to act surprised. I caught the flicker of a smirk, the glint of performance in her expression. She was ready to put on a show. She had no idea the curtain was already falling. I reached into my pocket, and she braced herself for the ring. But I didn't pull it out. Instead, I held up her phone. I looked straight into her eyes, and in a voice that didn't shake, didn't crack, I read aloud, "He's proposing tonight. Wait till you see me turn him down." Gasps filled the room. Her face drained of all color. The smirk disappeared. The sparkle in her eyes dimmed in an instant, replaced by wide-eyed panic. I slipped the ring back into my pocket. "You could have just told me," I said quietly, every word carrying the weight of betrayal. "You didn't have to make a joke out of my love." And then I turned around and walked away. The silence in that restaurant was deafening, like the air itself didn't know what to do. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The cold night air hit my face as I stepped outside. And strangely, it felt good, like a reset, like I could finally breathe again. What should have been the worst moment of my life became something else entirely, a release. I had loved her with everything I had, but she had never intended to love me back. And now I knew the truth. Back at my apartment, I poured a drink and sat in the quiet. No more rehearsed moments, no more illusions, just stillness and clarity. My phone buzzed not long after. Message after message, pouring in like rain. Apologies, excuses, half-baked explanations, and desperate attempts to stitch together what she had torn apart. But it didn't matter anymore. She hadn't just rejected a proposal. She had mocked my love, played with it, turned it into a joke to be shared and laughed at with her friends. In doing so, she didn't just end our relationship. She revealed everything I needed to know. She thought she was stealing a moment from me, but what she gave me was so much more. She gave me the truth, and that was worth more than her hand in marriage ever could have been. I wasn't a man clinging to the hope of being loved anymore. I was a man who had finally walked away from someone who never deserved what I was ready to give.